What was recently discovered here in Wanuskewin Heritage Park, how it was discovered, is just part of what I have been referring to as the wonder of Wanuskewin.
That something happened in that area, something sacred, or else someone wants to send a message. It adds more to the sacredness and significance of Wanuskewin.
My name's Ernie Walker. I am a founder of Wanuskewin Heritage Park. I've been a board member for many, many years. I'm the chief archaeologist in the park. I've been doing archaeological research for 40 years here. Wanuskewin Heritage Park is on the extreme north end of the city of Saskatoon. It's just outside the city limits, adjacent to the South Saskatchewan River.
It's a sacred place, lots of energy here. First time you come here, you can feel the energy, power, My name is Sai Standing. My Dakota name is Wakaya Naji. It's my spiritual name. I'm from Wanuskewin, Saskatchewan. I'm a Dakota, and they wanted a Dakota person to advise on developing the park.
In 1982, I started archaeological research here in the park and came across a large number of sites, bison jumps, campsites. We knew about the medicine wheel, teepee rings, just a really unusual collection of deeply buried, intact archaeological deposits.
All that in one area. This was preserved to interpret all that and then to tell the story of our history as best we can.
The medicine wheel was known early on in the 1930s. It is significant because it is the most northerly medicine wheel on the Great Plains. Medicine wheels are, for lack of a better term, a boulder alignment. In this case, a ring of stones with a central mound.
Our markings of after our ceremonies, a very powerful spiritual ceremony. Spokes, they mean everything. They point to the stars, or point east to the Big Dipper and North Star and all that. Rock is very important. We call it Tunga, which means like a grandfather. And from our creation stories, they said the sun was created first, and the second was the rock. So it's very sacred to us.
There is a 6,000 plus year record of occupation around Opimahau Creek. What we find archaeologically are stone tools of various types, spear points and dart tips and arrowheads, all of that usual stuff, pottery, yes. There are no built structures here. There are no pueblos, there are no big mounds. These are people who are here today and gone tomorrow. I think we're probably way over 800,000 artifacts now that have come out of here in 40 years. Most of them fragmented bison bone. They're bison hunting cultures. These are migratory people who are following bison herds.
We call them, in Dakota, we call them our relatives. And they supply everything for us, like shelter, clothing, food, tools,
In pre-contact times, people could hunt bison communally. It's really a complex operation. People would gather field stones, build lines of piles of rocks called cairns. They converge at the spot where the animals are going to be stampeded over an escarpment or down a slope into a corral structure. There are a number of bison jumps in Wanuskewin. The bison jump just below the building is called Neoasiniak. And slowly, these animals would be maneuvered, manipulated between these two lines, these converging lines of stones.
And they would have people on each side, dressed with whatever, coyotes.
Mimicking the movements of animals, about slowly maneuvering them, maybe even over the period of a day or days, and at the appropriate time, then stampede them. The animals go forward. They might see what's coming, but a lot of times it's disguised.
The sun rises over here, so they'll be coming over, they'll be blinded by the sun.
But they can't stop because of the push of the animals behind them, and so some of them go over.
Then there'll be people down there with spears. Together, we lived for thousands of years, sustaining, and there used to be many, many bison.
The whole story of their near extinction, we almost lost bison. They went for 30 million. That's the estimate around 400 years ago. In the early 1870s, there were probably less than 1,000.
Colonizers wanted the land. They didn't want us in the way. They slaughtered the bison so they can kill our economy, because because the bison was our economy.
Bison, of course, is the keynote species on the plains of North America, and that just opens up a whole volume of stories about bison, how they evolved, their close relationship to First Nations people of the Plains region.
In Wapayton, the young people would be practicing drumming, singing songs, and all the bison will go to the fence, and be there and listen. So there is a connection with the bison and our people. The elders had said that we have to bring the bison back. As the bison come back and more of them, we will be stronger as people, and then we can go forward. That's the prophecies.
This is why we made the decision to bring bison back to the park. In the case of Wanuskewin, in August of 2020, those bison that we brought back did something, you could use the term miraculous, but they did something very unusual.
It seems like everything was connected because all of a sudden the bison are here, and their feet naturally cultivates the ground.
Bison wallow, so they roll around and they create these dust pits, and they had uncovered a submerged boulder, a boulder that was under the ground, and it was just a little patch of this boulder exposed, but I noticed it had a groove across the top of it. So we dusted off a little more. Much to my surprise, there were other grooves. Now I recognized we are dealing with a petroglyph. It's called a ribstone. You get these parallel grooves carved into the rock, looking much like ribs of an animal, and then a line usually through the middle where you would interpret the vertebrae, sort of the spinal column. But in this instance, the little figure in the middle has a head and it's horned. It has a little body and then a kind of a curved tail-like feature that goes down into the crack in the rock. It's like a spirit figure. I recognized this immediately and was stunned. While we were excavating around the ribstone, we found a biface. It's a stone knife. It's been flaked, it's been prepared, and it was lying right next to the ribstone. When I measure the width of the cutting edge of the stone knife, it's the same width as the grooves on the rock. That stone knife was the tool that was used, at least in part, to carve those grooves on that rock. And I should say that we were through the area where the petroglyphs are many times. The problem was it was covered up. It was underground and we couldn't see it. So we needed those bison to move the soil off the top of them so we could just get a glimpse.
And for them to uncover the sacred stones, it's unbelievable.
The time of it is anywhere from 300 years old to as much as about 1800. I think it's about 1400 years because that's the age of the bone bed at the bison kill. So it's what we call the late pre-contact period, and it's 900 meters immediately west of the Neo-Siniak bison jump. Over the ensuing days, we found 3 more for a total of 4. And I draw your attention to Neo-Siniak means 4 stones. I named it that in 1982 when I came across that site. And I'm going to tell you, for the life of me, I can't remember why I named it Neo-Siniak. I had no idea those boulders were there. Those bison uncovered that first one. And then these other ones come to light. One of them is a larger rock, it's a grid. There's a smaller one, and that's called pit and groove style, and it goes together with the ribstone. And there's a really massive large one that has some long linear incisions on it. They're related to females, renewal, and bison. The ribstone especially, that's what that imagery portrays. Wanuskewin just keeps on giving, and I like that. I like the idea of that. It won't just be archaeological stuff. It will be the depth of the cultural experience, the story of how these people lived in this environment. This didn't happen in other parts of North America. It's a plain story.